Hey, I'm Janet Lynn Boswell, a faith-based certified life purpose coach and survivor of childhood sexual abuse and religious and family trauma, sharing what I wish people understood about me and other survivors. So welcome to A Survivor's Perspective. It used to be from the time I was a little, abused little girl up until recent years, maybe 3-4 years ago, the anxiety dreams would be about me running away, trying to run away from a threatening person. And I would run and I mean I would fly, I would jump over buildings, I would tunnel through the earth trying to get away from this threat. And no matter how fast I ran, how high I jumped, how far I could fly, whatever the case, whenever I got to wherever the final destination was, that person would be standing right there. In other words, there was nothing I could do to escape it. And that, like I said, I would have those dreams on a regular basis until very recently. And I believe what changed there was because I stopped running from fearful things. I stopped running from emotions and memories and things that feel scary to me or triggering for me. I have blocked out so much of that abuse that the effects of that would still come out in my dreams, if that makes sense. So the good news is that in recent years, I don't have too many of those dreams anymore because I'm no longer running away from those things, because I realize that the threat, that actual threat, is over. It happened. It happened, and even though it feels like it's happening in the present, I'm able to remind myself that it happened. Not only that it happened in the past, but that I survived it. Okay. So now the anxiety dreams are more like I'm always a day late and $1 short. And it's always some form, some version of that theme. The details might be different. The people might be different, although there's a lot of times it'll be the same few people. But the overarching scenario is that there will be something that God is calling me to do, right? And I am maybe dragging my feet, maybe unsure of what to do, maybe too distracted with other things, too unfocused, maybe sleeping, so distracted that I'm missing the preparation that I need to do for this thing. Or it could just be a fear of that I did it wrong, and now everybody's watching and everybody's laughing and criticizing me for doing it wrong. That was the type of dream that I had that night after I recorded the first video, not the intro, but the complete video for this podcast. I had that kind of dream where everybody else showed up on time the right way, with the right clothes on, knowing what to do. And I was stumbling around trying to find my way, showing up late, trying to get dressed, just not doing it right. So I have learned that it's pretty typical. Whenever I step out and do something new, chances are I'm going to have a dream like that. And I have learned that it does not mean that what I did was wrong or that there was anything wrong with it. But it's just a fear. It is an anxiousness around what if it was. Excuse me. There is years ago, I was diagnosed with a social anxiety disorder. And in these dreams, there's usually a social component where I just don't measure up or I don't fit in with whatever is going on in the group and with the group. So you can look at this releasing a video out into the internet. I know it's internet, not intranet, but out into the big wide World Wide Web is socialization on the biggest scale. So it makes sense that I would have anxiety around that. And I realized that when I woke up, like, oh, okay, yeah. When I thought about it, now, why would I have that dream? Oh, because you recorded that video, and that's going to go out into the internet, and however many people see it or whoever sees it, it'll be out there. But as usual, in that dream, I felt like I was a day late and $1 short. And that feeling that has plagued me my whole life can, if I let it, cause me to retreat. It can cause me to stay in a comfort zone if I allow it to. So I have to make the conscious decision on a regular basis to not allow that to happen. I have to remember that God is with me, that the Spirit of God is in me, that God is helping me, that God is moving through me, that I am not less than anyone else. And I talked about that in the first video. And that it's okay. I can show up in the world as myself. And whoever likes it, likes it. Whoever doesn't like it, doesn't like it. But I don't have to hide because of that. And I don't have to hide because I'm not perfect. I don't have to hide because I make mistakes. I don't have to hide because sometimes I move too slowly. Because I know that I'm still working toward and pressing toward the mark for the prize of the high calling of God in Christ Jesus, in Yeshua. I know that I am continuing to grow by God's grace. And so in all my imperfections, I keep showing up. And I want you to keep showing up and not let fear of criticism or even your own internal critic that was birthed in you through trauma, to not even let that stop you from showing up as their true and authentic self and sharing your God-given gift or gifts with the world. Ladies, I'm happy to announce that early bird registration is now open for the third annual The Overflow Life Women's Empowerment Conference, and it will be happening on April 3rd and 4th, 2026. That is the Friday and Saturday of Easter weekend, so hopefully that will make it easier for those of you who wanted to come one or both days but weren't able to because of a work schedule. Hopefully you'll be able to make it either that Friday or that Saturday, and preferably both days, because trust me, the way the Holy Spirit moved in this year's conference and the previous year's virtual conference, you don't want to miss it. So take advantage of this early bird pricing. Go ahead and register today for either one day or both days, and come and get refreshed and renewed and encouraged and inspired and supported in community with other women, like-minded women, in a safe and supportive environment. I hope to see you there. And I want you to keep showing up and not let fear of criticism or even your own internal critic that was birthed in you through trauma, to not even let that stop you from showing up as your true and authentic self and sharing your God-given gift or gifts with the world, because we need it. We need what you have. So don't hold it back from us, please. And I want to encourage you quickly before this video ends. I want to just quickly encourage you with the biblical story of Mephibosheth. Let's call him Meth, okay? Meth was the grandson of King Saul and the son of Jonathan. And Jonathan was David, who became King David's best friend, right? And a brother. They were soul tied together as brothers. And when Meth was 5 years old, that is when Saul and Jonathan both were killed in battle. And sometime later, when David had become king, David looked for someone in Saul's family to be able to bless them with the inheritance that was theirs, right? And someone told him about Meth. And so David went to find Meth so that he could bless them with what he had inherited from his grandfather. The thing about Meth was two things I want to point out. Meth had been dropped when he was 5 years old by his nursemaid. And so he was crippled in both of his feet. And so I'm guessing Meth was unable to walk at all, being crippled in both feet. And so the Bible basically says in chapter 4 that Meth became disabled. Chapter 4 of 2 Samuel, I'm sorry. Meth became disabled at the age of 5. Then in chapter 9 of 2 Samuel, it tells us that David found Meth in a place called Lodabar. Now, think about this. Something happened to Meth as a child that caused him to become disabled, to become crippled, okay, crippled in some way. And now he has been living in Lodabar. And the interesting thing about Lodabar is that the name means obscurity and isolation. So he grew up in obscurity and isolation. He grew up hidden. He grew up in this place of hiding. And now all of a sudden, the king has come and is calling him out of that place of hiding, the only place he's ever known since he was 5 years old, and saying, it's time for you to step into your inheritance. And Meth is afraid. Meth is apparently grown by this time, because as you read on in chapter 9, it says that Meth has a son himself. So all these years have passed, and Meth has grown into adulthood feeling crippled, feeling disabled, hiding out in this place of obscurity. And we know that Meth didn't feel the greatest about himself, because when he came in front of the king and bowed down to the king, and the king told him why he was there, he called himself a dead dog and said, why would you even waste your time with me? And that really struck me. God even had me teach really on that even more in depth at this year's women's conference. But God had me really teach on that, and that really struck me. Why? Because so many of us as survivors, that's how we look at ourselves. That's how we feel about ourselves. We might not use those words, but we feel unworthy. We feel unworthy of stepping into God's calling. We feel unworthy of receiving God's grace and mercy and blessings. We feel like we can't do what God has empowered and equipped us and is calling us to do, what God designed and created us to do. We feel like for a whole host of reasons we cannot do, and so we don't do, and so we stay hidden, and so we stay small. We keep ourselves small, and we stay within our comfortable parameters. And I actually taught during the conference about leaving the prison of our comfort zone. We stay within our comfortable parameters because it feels safe, because we feel like we're always a day late and a dollar short. But the thing is, it's still not safe, because unsafe people have a way of finding us still, right? Emotionally unsafe people, at the very least, still have a way of finding us, even when we try to hide. So might as well stop trying to hide. Receive and seek the Lord on what He has intended for you. And oftentimes we know what it is. We just are so afraid of what might happen, what could potentially go wrong. My biggest fear is that I won't be consistent, and that I will let God down in that way. And also, I mean, there are others, that I will become distracted, which will lead to the inconsistency. And just that I won't do it the right way. That's that whole perfectionism mindset. And a new term that I just heard of recently, which was religious OCD. Maybe God will have me talk about that in the future. But yeah, I struggle with that. And I definitely had issues with psychological OCD in the past. So, but here I am. Hopefully not a day late and a dollar short. But if I am, then I am, because I can only show up as me, and you can only show up as you. But the important thing is to show up in God's name, by God's grace, and be who you are. I love you. I will see you next time, and I'm praying for you. All right.